Hello, my name is Paul Pauley. I'm 45 years old and I'm a resident of St. John's in Brunswick. I've suffered from vision loss for about the past 10 years due to complications of diabetes and diabetic retinopathy.
My name is Karen Powers and I've been a client of the CNIB for approximately 45 years. I lost my vision due to glaucoma, which is pressure in the eye, and if it's not controlled immediately, it crushes the optic nerve and then it causes vision loss.
Good morning. My name is Garnet Steeves. I'm going on 85 years old. I've been living here in this apartment for the past 2-3 months. I ended up in Halifax where they operated on my eye and took it out and did everything to save it, but due to the fact that I had bleeding in the retina, they couldn't save it at all. My right eye now is a little different. I have macular degeneration in it, which I can't see straight ahead of me. I can see a bit out of the corners of my eyes, which allows me a little bit of freeway.
Bonjour, mon nom est Julie Morneau, j'ai 36 ans. Je suis née avec une condition visuelle qui se nomme la rétinite pigmentaire. Ce que ça fait un peu en général, c'est que c'est une maladie qui affecte la rétine de l'œil et qu'éventuellement je vais perdre la vue complètement. Présentement, ce que je vois, c'est pas grand-chose. De mon œil gauche, je ne vois rien du tout. De mon œil droit, je vois un peu de clarté le jour et quand ça vient le soir, je suis capable de distinguer. Puis en anglais, ils appellent ça light perception.
Hi, my name is Natalie Fougier, and I was born with a visual condition called optic nerve hypoplasia. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying my optic nerve hasn't been developed. So when I was born, I had to, slowly adapt to today's world with all of the different adaptations that I needed.
Good afternoon. At the age of 42, I was diagnosed, that was in 1989, I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, abbreviated RP, which is a degenerative disease of the retina, the screen in the back of the eye. And I was a teacher at the time, and I was getting concerned that something was wrong. And anyway, eventually found out what was going wrong, and I was declared legally blind that day, which was shocking, and it was quite an adjustment.
Hi, I'm Marian Zakowski. I'm 83 years old, and I've had AMD, age-related macular degeneration, for 12 years. It came on extremely suddenly. I had just started attending university at 71, and all of a sudden I was having problems seeing, and I went to my optometrist, and he said that I would be blind in 5 years.
I was working full time and actually stopped working because my job at the time and my amount of vision loss that I was suffering from became a safety hazard, and I couldn't work anymore. So the initial contact with the CNIB office, they introduced me to the Adjustment to Vision Loss program, which was the impact that had on me was huge, because I was put into contact with people who actually were suffering from the same problem, the same conditions that I had.
The CNIB hired me in the late 70s for a project, and it gave me experience to the point where I was able to return to work, because after I lost my vision, I didn't think I'd be able to go back to work. And anyways, they have come into my home and marked my appliances so that I'm able to cook. I'm able to do my laundry, my washer and dryer. Everything is marked with either braille or raised dots. And without that, I could not possibly live by myself. I live by myself now.
They're the ones that got me my book reader and and my talking watch, and I have a talking clock, and if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even know where to turn to get these things.
Le CNIB m'a aidé à apprendre comment utiliser une carte blanche, comment me déplacer du point A au point B en sécurité. Aussi m'a aidé à comment faire des repas pour moi-même, à cuisiner. Aussi m'ont aidé à faire sûr que dans mon appartement, parce que je demeure seule dans mon appartement, ils m'ont aidé à faire sûr que j'avais des adaptations comme du braille sur mon micro-ondes, du poêle sur mon fourneau, que je suis capable d'utiliser mes appareils ménagers en toute sécurité.
So the first contact that I had with CNIB was when I decided that I wanted to live on my own. I had some orientation and mobility services. So that means that I had someone to basically show me which way I needed to go, like to learn different routes, for example, from my home to the bus stop, or from the bus stop to all my different courses, because at the time I also wanted to, I was planning on studying at university.
I contacted the CNIB right away at the recommendation of my optometrist and my ophthalmologist, and became a client of the CNIB, got registered, and started receiving services from the CNIB at that time. And with the help of the CNIB, I was able to learn how to walk with a white cane to get around my own community. I was able to stay in the job for another 10 years after that, to the age of 52. And I got a lot of adaptive equipment and learned how to use it from instructors at CNIB. And so I've been able to adjust to the point where I'm relatively independent. The only thing I can't do that I used to be able to do is drive.
I went through a period of depression, very, very bad. I wasn't going to go back to university. I was going to stagnate, really. And I decided I would go to CNIB because I thought if anybody could kick me in the rear and get me going again, it would be them. Because they dealt with blind people, and I knew I wasn't really blind, but they should be able to help me. When I went there, I had a very warm welcoming. I got talked to, and I got talked to in a way that made me realize that even though I did have a vision problem, I wasn't going to stagnate, that I could use my mind. And they helped me. They helped me very much by giving me implements so that I could read the textbooks. They helped me with giving me a machinery that I could take to university and write my exams.
So, in the end, with all the services and resources that CNIB provided me with the ability to go back to university to continue my education, down to providing me with a white cane. I had the low vision assessment done and provided me with magnifiers. Terry, the specialist, to show me how to navigate and use the cane.
Get around the campus.
Getting around the campus at school, and still to this day, if there's anywhere I need to navigate, I can call, make an appointment, and she'll come and map out a route for me. You know, these things absolutely need to be available and provided to anybody with vision loss, because it basically gives you your independence and your freedom back. And soon I'll be returning to the workforce, opposed to if I had not been provided with these services through CNIB, I would probably still be a shut-in.
Just because we can't see doesn't mean we don't need the same help as someone that breaks their leg or an arm. We need the same kind of help, and we need the same kind of respect. CNIB has a wonderful library that helps people with books and reading, and when you can't read, when you can't hold a book anymore, that you think you're going to die. But CNIB shows you that you don't. You still live.
Kind of hard. I'm a Korean War veteran. I spent about 9 months in Korea with the Canadian Army Special Force. But without the CNIB, I don't really know where I would be, because nobody else has offered anything to me, any kind of help.
C'est des services qui sont quand même très importants pour les gens qui ont perte de vision. Puis sans eux autres, les personnes qui en basse vision, qui sont complètement aveugles, pourraient pas être autonomes, pourraient pas être capables de se déplacer, être capables de faire des choses quotidiennes.
You know, it would be important for the CNIB to receive like some stable funding so that people like myself could be able to receive some of those services, and it should be, you know, like through the health department and not always like relying on some of the charitable organizations. So if we could, you know, continue to have some of that stable funding, that would be so wonderful for people, as much people like myself that's born blind, or people that's actually living with vision loss.
I can do most things. I still downhill ski in the winter, but I ski with a guide now. And so the bottom line is I do most things in a different way. But if I hadn't had the instruction from CNIB people who like most organizations that are trying to help people, always need funding, and they service here in New Brunswick clients all over the province, north, south, east, and west. And there are, I don't know how many clients. I know they're in the thousands, and in this province. And right now, times are tough, and the dollar is low, and equipment is expensive, and people's salaries have to be paid. So I'm a great supporter of the CNIB because I personally have been helped, and I've seen a lot of other people be helped.
I think the CNIB is a very important organization and should always be funded by the government. It should be funded by the government. If I lost a leg or a hand, there would be rehab that would most likely be paid by the province. But if I lose my vision, there's actually nothing out there that I know of that would help me keep my independence. Because of the CNIB, I have stayed independent, and I'm very grateful to everybody at the CNIB. And I'm going to cry if I say any more.